In my previous videos, the democracies have been unable to overcome the Commonwealth of Man, so I thought I would try 3 against 1 this time before I move on to something else, and I've added a few twists to the game. So I created a new democracy called Democratic Pioneers. They're a military commissariat, but they're still democratic. They have distinguished admiralty, nationalistic zeal, they're xenophile, they're fanatic militarists, they're nomadic, they're wasteful, and they're intelligent. Give them a little bump in their research. And their origin is prosperous unification. Take a quick look at the game settings. Left this on small, elliptical. About the biggest change I made is primitive civilizations. I bumped that up to max as suggested by Joe G. This will give the democracies a better chance to work with primitives and assimilate them into their own empire, which will probably should allow them to colonize more habitable planets and create a better economic base so they can be on a better war footing when they fight the Commonwealth of Man. I've also left this set on Grand Admiral and AI aggressiveness to high. I'm going to click play and we'll see what happens. Here's the game setup. Commonwealth of Man, again, I managed to get them in an isolated corner all by themselves. 3 democracies up at the top, and hopefully the hopefully United or the Democratic Pioneers won't turn on the other 2 democracies since they're militaristic. Hope not. I'm hoping to see a federation between these 3, but we'll see what happens. So here's the Democratic Pioneers, United Democracies, United Nations of Earth, Commonwealth of Man. So I'm going to take a quick look at their ships before I start. I just want to make sure everybody's at an even start, and then we'll play the game. So looking at their corvettes, they've got the usual start. 2 small mass drivers, nuclear missiles, 2 shields, and an armor. This is the United Nations of Earth. Take a look at their ships. United Nations of Earth is the same. For the United Democracies, their ships are the same. And for the Democratic Pioneers, their ships are the same also. So it's an even start all the way around. "20 years of game time have now elapsed, and I thought I'd drop in and take a look at the empires. Something I'm looking at here is fleet power, and the Democratic Pioneers have got the strongest fleets right now with the Commonwealth of Man right behind them. So I'm interested in how these 2 guys are getting along. So I'm going to choose the Democratic Pioneers, and I'm going to open up their outliner and go to their contacts also. And they are not getting along too well with the United Democracies. Hopefully that'll change, but if not, there might be a war erupt between those 2, so just have to see how that progresses. Take a look at their ships. They have upgraded their ships. They've got a point defense, and a small blue laser, and a nuclear missile, and still 2 armor and a shield. This is for the Democratic Pioneers. Oh, let's drop in on United Democracies.
Situation log updated.
I want to take a look at their ships also. Let's see. And they've upgraded theirs. They've got 2 small red laser and a nuclear missile, 2 shields and an armor. United Nations of Earth. They've only got 1 fleet. Wow. But they've got a destroyer in that fleet, and they've armed that with 4 medium coil guns and a nuclear missile, split evenly between shields and armor. Corvettes, they've been upgraded too. 2 small red laser, nuclear missile, 2 armor, 1 shield, and afterburners. As for the Commonwealth of Man, let's take a look at Let's take a look at this one. They've got corvettes. Their corvettes are still the same in this fleet. I'm going to check another one. I'm going to check this fleet. And the corvettes in this fleet have been upgraded. They've got 3 small blue lasers, 2 armor, and 1 shield. One other thing I like to check is traditions and ascension perks. So for United Democracies, they've adopted discovery and expansion, and they've got the One Vision ascension perk. For the United Nations of Earth, they've adopted subterfuge and expansion, and they've got the technological ascendancy perk. I've said before I like that one. The Democratic Pioneers have adopted diplomacy and subterfuge, and they've also adopted technological ascendancy as their ascension perk. And the Commonwealth of Man has adopted expansion and discovery, and their ascension perk is mastery of nature. So the first war is broken out, and this one's between the Democratic Pioneers and the United Democracies. I'd hoped they would create an alliance at least, but it looks like they're going to fight it out instead. I'll pop in and take a quick look at what's going on the battlefront, but this war has just started between the Democratic Pioneers and the United Democracies, so I doubt there's a whole lot to see. But zooming in, this looks like the main battlefront right here. Got 2 breakaway systems. I assume those are from the United Democracies. So I'm going to take a look at this from the Democratic Pioneers point of view. And there's really no occupied systems yet, and that's not surprising. It looks like they are starting to make incursions in the Democratic United Democracy space. I'm going to take a look at their fleets real quick. Take a look at their most powerful fleet, which is the 3rd wave. They've got destroyers. So the destroyers have a medium blue laser, 2 small energy siphons, nuclear missiles, and a small blue laser. And they're evenly divided between armor and shields. And they've got 2 afterburners. I've checked the United Democracy's fleets, and they don't have any destroyers yet. All they have is corvettes. And their corvettes have 3 small blue lasers, a shield, and 2 armor. Nothing in the auxiliary slot yet. So I would say the advantage is decidedly with the Democratic Pioneers right now. The second war is broken out between the Commonwealth of Man and the United Nations of Earth. So I think I'll pop back in again and take a look at both wars, see what's going on. And I'll do this from the Commonwealth of Man's viewpoint.
Situation log updated.
So this one's just started also, and it doesn't look like there's any incursions into either one's space yet. Size up the ships real quick, and let's see. I'll take a look at this fleet. They've got destroyers. They've got a medium UV laser, 2 small UV lasers, class 3, and then they've got 2 small disruptors. They're evenly divided between armor and shields, and they've got an afterburner. As for the United Nations of Earth, they've got destroyers. So they've got a medium cutting laser. They've got a small cutting laser. They've got a small railgun, and they've got 2 small blue lasers. And they're evenly divided between shields and armor. Nothing in the afterburners. Since I have the game paused, I might as well take a look at this war between the Democratic Pioneers and the United Democracies. And it looks like there's several systems that have been occupied by the Democratic Pioneers, so they're making inroads against the United Democracies. I think I'll take a look at the war exhaustion real quick. The attackers of the Democratic Pioneers, defenders United Democracies, and war exhaustion is 32% to 41%, so not too big of a disparity, but it looks like enough to show that the Democratic Pioneers are winning the war. The war between the Democratic Pioneers and the United Democracies has ended, and I didn't see any border changes, so I didn't think it'd end this soon, but it did, and there's really been no change. And now the war between the Commonwealth of Man and the United Nations of Earth has ended, but there's a new empire, Grand Union of Stars, in the middle, and it looks like it's fighting both of them, so I have to drop in and take a look at that. Interesting. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it looks like Commonwealth of Man and United Nations of Earth are both defenders now, and I don't see how this guy's going to last very long, but I'll let it go on and see what happens. I think I'll take a look at the war exhaustion real quick. So these guys, they've got one system that's been occupied by the Commonwealth of Man. I'm going to take a look at the war exhaustion from the Commonwealth of Man's perspective. So it shows they've still got 2 wars going on. Okay, so they're still fighting the United Nations of Earth, and they're also fighting these guys. So in this war, there actually shows they're losing, even though the war exhaustion is higher. And as for this war, the Scion 4 uprising, they're winning that one. The United Nations of Earth might have a shot at winning this after all, if the war exhaustion kicks in. I thought I would go in and take a closer look at the Fraying Union of Stars. They are no longer at war with the United Nations of Earth, but they're still at war with the Commonwealth of Man. They are expanding. They have no systems occupied by the Commonwealth of Man, but the war exhaustion seems to be taking a toll on them. It's like 64% to 47%. So we'll see what happens in this war. It's kind of an interesting turn of events. I thought I would drop in and take a look at the war exhaustion from the Commonwealth of Man's position. It looks like the war is about over. The Ray Union of Stars war exhaustion is at 100%. Commonwealth of Man's only at 93%. I will look for the war to end real soon. Well, a couple of things happened almost at the same time. The Commonwealth of Man won their war against the Vraying Union of Stars, and it looks like a federation has arisen between the United Nations of Earth, United Democracies, Mandated Commodores, Hierarchy of Peya, and Sacred Flangen Democracy, or whatever it is. So that gives the democracies a better fighting chance. The Democratic Pioneers have been left out for some reason. I guess it's because they're so militaristic. I thought I'd pause the game because all of a sudden every empire but one is at war. So I thought I would go into the game and figure out what's going on. So I signed in as a Democratic Pioneers to see what was going on. And just a side note, their economy looks like it's in terrible shape right now. But bring up the war screen, and they are the defenders against the federation that the United Nations of Earth is a part of. So it's just started. So the war exhaustion is tipped slightly in their favor, 3 to 6%. Now I've signed into this Commonwealth of Man to see who exactly they're fighting. Bring up their war screen, and the Commonwealth of Man is the defender, and they're fighting the Crush Pact. And it looks like they're winning that through war score anyway, 18% to 45%. When I zoom in, it looks like they've actually got the Crush Pact has actually occupied a few systems of the Commonwealth of Man. So looks like they're going to try to take that back. Interesting. The Commonwealth of Man has obviously won its war, so I thought I'd drop in on this one and see how it's doing. I thought it would be interesting to look at this from the United Nations of Earth perspective this time. So I'll bring up the war screen, and they are the attackers, and according to the war score, they are winning 70% to 24%. You can see the war goals here. I'll zoom in a little bit and see who's doing what. And it looks like they're making some significant inroads into the Democratic Pioneers territory. So it looks like the Federation powers are going to win this war. So it shows that a strong Federation can stand up to a military dictatorship, although it's not the Commonwealth of Man. This has been a pretty long war, so I thought I'd drop in for an update, and this time I thought it'd be interesting to come from the United Nations Earth viewpoint, bring up their war screen, and it looks like they're winning according to war exhaustion, 60% to 78%. You can see the war goals here, as always. I just thought I'd zoom in, and it looks as though their federation is making some significant inroads into the Democratic Pioneers territory. So this war is not really too close to being over yet, but it looks like the handwriting's on the wall. Unless something happens to help out the Democratic Pioneers, looks like they're going to lose this war. The war between the Democratic Pioneers and the League of Sovereign Stars is now over, so I thought I'd drop in and see what happened. I'm signed in now as the Democratic Pioneers, and I thought I'd bring up their contact list. And they are still independent, but their authority has changed to a representative democracy, so evidently the Federation succeeded in imposing their ideology upon them, and now they're on good terms with everybody in the game, really. So there may be they may join this federation as a result of that. They might become a member of the League of Sovereign Stars. We'll see what happens. So the League of Sovereign Stars has declared war on the Commonwealth of Man. Looks like the Democratic Pioneers are sitting this out right now. So before I go in and check out the status, I think I'll let it play out for a while. It's about 2 years into the war now, so I thought I'd drop in and take a look. I signed in as the Commonwealth of Man. They're actually involved in 2 wars. As for the war with the United Nations of Earth and its Federation, looks like they're losing that one 30% to 12% when it comes to war exhaustion. As for the other one, they are defending against the Boris 3 uprising, and it looks like they're a little ahead in war score. So between the two, this might be tough for them to handle. I think I'll zoom in a little bit. And it looks like the League of Sovereign Stars is making some inroads into the Commonwealth of Man's territory. So this could be trouble for them. Well, the main war is over, although the Commonwealth of Man is still embroiled in a minor war. So I didn't see any significant change in the borders. Didn't see any change at all, really. So I'm going to pop into the Commonwealth of Man and see what's going on. I've signed into the game as the Commonwealth of Man, and I'm going to bring up their contacts list. And even though they're still independent, they are now a representative democracy rather than a dictatorship. So for all intents and purposes, I think this video is over, because even though the Commonwealth of Man was not eliminated, the military dictatorship was. I think part of what did the Commonwealth of Man was that it seemed like they're always embroiled in some infighting. They always had systems breaking away. I think that weakened them enough to where the democracies prevail, and maybe not. But anyway, if you're interested in seeing how the rest of this video turns out, because we've still got a couple of empires out that are independent of the Federation, let me know. Put something in the comments block down below. Otherwise, I'll consider this a wrap. And until next time, this is Rich from Loader Strategy Games. We'll see you later. Bye.